Okay, welcome to our second community event here, Financially Free in Your 20s. Today's event is about planning and really getting a running start into 2023. Big idea is really if you don't take responsibility and work your own plan, you're going to end up living someone else's plan for your life. And we talk a lot in the group about taking responsibility for the results that you produce at everything. And this can be really scary and really empowering all at the same time. And we're going to get started on getting a running start into 2023. I am planning to kick 2023's ass and have a phenomenal year. And I want you to do the same. And so tonight's session is really very much a workshop for all of us to do some of the work to really put in place some plans that will get us off to a great start by starting to think about some of this now. And as we get started, I want to share something with you that I first learned couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, and it's really started to make more and more sense to me all the time. And I want to share that with you. And it's this idea that the rules are optional. And I get a lot of pushback on this one. And I truly believe that the rules are optional and I can create my own rules. And the big pushback that everyone offers right away is, well, you have to pay taxes. And to that, I actually can answer, no, you don't. There's an extreme, which is you don't have to pay taxes and you might go to jail. So we want to play by the laws. I get that. But there are ways around paying your income taxes. Go live outside the United States where I believe currently your first $120-something thousand of federal income tax is you don't have to pay under certain circumstances. I experienced that when I've lived in Central and South America, being outside the country. You literally don't pay income taxes on a huge chunk of your salary. Another example, a couple years ago, caused all kinds of controversy when Donald Trump released some tax returns and showed that he paid $750. And what he did, he used real estate and entity laws to ensure that he paid almost no taxes. And most likely what he did was perfectly legal. Most people don't like it, but that's the way it is. The point being is that there are so many different ways to play the game, and there are so many different ways to apply the rules. And that definitely the assumption that the rules are required is something that you do not have to live with. And the other part is that I especially say the rules are optional is when you're setting up your dreams and goals, because there are so many ways you can get to those results that are legal, going to keep you out of jail, and ethical, and all of those things. But sometimes people really think there are rules against what they want to do, and many times they aren't. There are rules that say what you can't do many times, but there are not rules saying what you can do, which leaves a ton of freedom if you look at it a different way. So for today, we're not going to be inventing the rules. Inventing the wheel here on creating goals. We're definitely standing on the shoulders of giants. We're going to use the concepts of Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Locke and Latham, who did a lot of research on this, and a company like Harvard Square, who teaches a lot of work like this around goals, that has done all kinds of research. And we're going to stay right in line with the things that they have learned and taught, and they know work over time. So what I've done for this session is combine some of the best from these people. And quite frankly, this is stuff that's taken me years of trial and error to get to this. And my hope is that my years, and in some cases decades of working on this, I can help you accelerate that learning cycle, really compress your learning curve by bringing this all together for you so you can act on it now. And so I don't have a lot of slides, but I do have a couple of things I want to share with you as we get started here. So I want to get to for our first part here. And the screen, what I want to share here is, if you don't create your rules, what rules are you playing by? And if you're not working towards your goals, how do you know if you're successful? And one of the things that I've really learned is that if you don't have a set of rules, or I'm sorry, a set of goals that you are playing towards and rules that you're playing by, the government is going to give you a default path. There are ways, just follow along, play nice, do what's there, and it works because it's set up for government control, government efficiency. And I'm not against government. It's the same with employers. If you aren't working a plan for you to achieve your goals, your employer has a plan for you, and you're going to work and you're going to help them make money. And I'm not against employers. I've had wonderful employers, but they are going to have a plan for you that is not about your goals and dreams. It's going to be about them making money. And finally, Wall Street's the same. They have a plan for you and a program for you that's all about them making money. They don't try to provide you products or try to sell you products that they can't make money on. They bring products that they can make money on. So they are going to be successful. Whether the market goes up or down, Wall Street makes money. The investors are on the other side of that situation. And so there definitely are plans for you if you don't take action and try and figure out how you're going to make this work. So one of the frameworks that I first learned, I learned this back when I was in college, and so a long time ago, and it's the SMART methodology. And many of you have probably already seen this or heard it. And that, what should every goal be? It should be specific, should be measurable, achievable, should be realistic, and it should be timely. I don't want to break every one of those down. I think they're fairly obvious, but it's a good framework to say, all right, boy, I have some goals here, some things I want to achieve, and a good goal has each one of these attributes. And I do agree with that. And I used this for a while, but I always thought, I felt like it was leaving something out. And I'm convinced at this point that it absolutely is leaving something out. And so I went searching for some of the gaps to this particular model. And so when I went and looked at some of the experts and people that have really studied this and written about it, and one person that really summarized it, he's a bit old school, but I definitely recommend you should check out some of his videos or other videos that have since been made of him and about him. Zig Ziglar, quite the character, interesting guy to listen to. And so I found his framework to be a little bit more robust and made sense. So I took his, and I'll call it, this list is inspired. And this is what we're going to work towards, is that creating a vision for your life, your goals, that is defined by these attributes, and that each of your goals will be written down. You know why you must have this. You identify the obstacles you believe you're going to face in achieving it. What people, groups, and organizations you need to enroll or to get help from to achieve those goals. I love this one. Then, what do you need to know in order to achieve this goal or this dream or this vision that you have? Then there are going to be steps and milestones. Maybe you don't know what they are, but you know where to start, or you have some ideas of what comes later and don't know where to start. And then finally, there is a date for when you actually want to have achieved this vision, this dream, this goal. And so these 7 components are what what I believe makes for a great goal. And whether it's one you're going to achieve within the year, or something you want to achieve in 10, 15, 20, 50 years from now that you want to achieve in life. So this is where we're going to start with being able to capture that. So we're going to go through. I'm going to go ahead and take these down, and I can provide some support here in a couple of minutes. But we are going to go through a 5-step process to go through helping initiate the things that are in your mind, and they're your dreams and your vision and your goals that you have already, to get them identified and start to be able to assign those 7 attributes to them. So you have a killer set of goals that can then be a guide to you. that show you where to spend your time, your money, your energy, your thinking, your studying, all those things. And that really can shape where you take your next year. So to do this, there's you need something to write with and a pad of paper. This is definitely a write it down exercise. This is it's been proven with a variety of science that I won't go into. I did start reading, and it's real. Is that writing it down by hand absolutely makes a difference. So the place we're going to start is on step one. So step one is, and we're going to take 2 minutes or so just to get started, because you can come back and do this again. And I'll give you these steps in a written format so that you can take them afterwards and really continue to build all of this out. Step one, right now, I want you to write down 5 things that you have accomplished in your life that you are proud of. 5 things, right? Just write them down. It doesn't have to be the most important, but we're just going to start with some things that we've already achieved. It can be academic, it can be family, it can be athletic, anything you want. Just 5 things you've accomplished and are proud of. And we'll give that a minute or two, and then I'll check in with you guys and get a thumbs up or a wave or something here. So let's go ahead and take a minute to make start to make that list. I'm going to go ahead and do it at the same time. Let's see. Kids. Maybe a goal you set and achieved, maybe something, a sporting event that you excelled at or achieved. Maybe it was something you really sucked at, but you figured it out anyway. Maybe it's getting through school, anything. You don't have to write out much, just write down what the item is. Okay. So can I get a thumbs up that we have 5 things? Good. Okay. Oh, yeah, okay, we'll move on. All right. 1 down, 4 more to go. Gets a little more intense as we go. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to write down what are the things that you want in the next 10 years. Can be 5. Make it, what, it doesn't have to be 10 years from now. It's over the next 10 years. And so the point here, start thinking of what are the things that you want. This is what do you want? What do you dream of? Not what do you think you can get? Well, I really want the Lamborghini, but I think I can get an Audi. No. This is the Lamborghini. I want to own the LA Rams. I want to own a sports team. I want to sing on stage with Rihanna. What are the things you want? What do you dream of? The big goals. I want to have a company. I want to have a family. So I want you to start to write down the things that you want to do. And the goal would be to get to 50 of them. So we're going to take some time. I'm going to just pose the question. We'll take a couple minutes, and then I'm going to give you some prompts as well. I need to write down mine. What do you want to see? I want to see the USA win the World Cup. What do you want to what do you want to be? Who do you want to be? What languages do you want to speak? What government initiatives do you want to make happen? Local, state, federal. You want political office? You want to be a leader in your church? Where do you want to live? How do you want to live? What do you want to live in? Just keep going. Just write down. Boom, boom. Just keep writing them. What do you want your family life to be like? With your parents, your siblings, partner, spouse, children? Just write them down. No wrong answers. You're going to have plenty of chances to rework this. What habits? What habits do you want to have? How about hobbies? What hobbies do you want? You want to golf? You want to play tennis? You want to be active? You want to ride your bike throughout all of Europe? You want to underwrite a a concert, a festival? Do you want to produce a musical? Do you want to write a musical? Do you want to write a musical? You want your musical to be performed on Broadway. But what projects do you want to support? Donations you might want to make? What nonprofit might you create? Remember if I talked about health? How's your health? Your fitness? How's your fitness? Want to do an Ironman triathlon? You want to be a tennis pro? You want to teach kids how to play tennis? Spirituality, yoga. Do you want to go get licensed? You want to go do your hours in India with a important yogi and learn some of those skills. Maybe do you want to learn to cook? You want to own a restaurant? How much money do you think you want? How much money do you think you need? What do you want? What do you dream about? Again, these are dreams. You keep them flowing. The goal is to get yourself to at least 50. Where the goal is to get to 50. I've been talking. I haven't quite got there. Okay. Um, if you have at least 25, just look up, wave. At least 25. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So let's do this. I'm going to take down the prompt here. Okay. And so we now have this long list. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back through this list. And the great thing about this list, by the way, is it can change and grow. This is your first time. Like the thing to do is is to put this away for a day and come back on it in about 48 hours and do the 50 again. Modify, add, change. Let this evolve. It can grow. But what we're going to do now is I want you to go through all of the items you wrote down. And I want you to assign an amount of time or give it a timeline, a point in that time that you want to achieve this outcome, this result, this goal. And it's either a 1 for 1 year, 3, 5, or 10. So 1, 3, 5, or 10 years. So right next to each item, write down the number of years that you want to actually have when you want to have that done. Go through all of them. Can't read my own handwriting. Okay, let's keep, again, don't have to try super, super hard here. All right, looks like we're still working on this. Let's give it another minute. Okay, once you have numbers next to everything, give me a thumbs up. Couple more seconds in. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. So this next part, told you we keep moving. This next part is we're going to go back and look at each of those each of the items that are there, and hopefully you have 50. If not, that's okay. You can do it again, build out your 50, and for each time frame, there's really one step I think I want to include on this. On the 1, 3, 5, and 10 years, the goal on that, or in this exercise, is to, you want a pretty even distribution. So if you're really lopsided to 1 year, next time you do the 50, I want you to spread them out a little bit further and rethink the goals. Maybe think a little bigger. Or if you're lopsided towards 10 years, you might want to shrink some of those and make them more some smaller goals that can be done in 1 year or 3 year or 5 years. So I think that's a thing to do here. So you're looking for even distribution across 1, 3, 5, and 10. But what I want you to do is look at, for each time period, I want you to circle the 4 most important items in each time period. So you should have 4 circles next to items that are for the 1 year. Pick your most important ones. And then you should have 4 circles for 3 years, 4 circled for 5, and 4 of the 10. And again, the great part about this exercise is you don't have to get it right. When you actually do this and you work through it and you get to the end, you'll start to realize that some of the things you started to work on you maybe aren't as important as you thought they were. So that's totally okay. So literally just pick them. 3. Little prioritization here. I personally, I did this right now. I came out heavy on the 5s. I had, mostly because I said, as long as it's within 5, that it could be 1, 3, or 5. So I'm going to have to go back and rethink these a little bit. Okay. Okay. Quick check here. Thumbs up if we've got our 4 most important items. Okay. Yeah, we'll keep moving here. It's okay. This is all about getting the methodology down and getting some ideas going in the brain. So next up, we're now going to go back to each one of these items that were circled. Should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 20 items circled. And we won't do all of this exercise, but we're going to start. And what we're going to say is for each one of them is these are about to become the two most important questions that you're going to ask about every goal that you're going to set and the timeline that it's on. Why? Why must you have this? I'll give you an example. So I want to have I want to have a house. I want my house to be located where I can walk to the beach. Not the one I'm in, the one I want to live in. I have a specific house I want to live in, but I want to be able, it has to be that house with walking distance to the beach. And I want that in 3 years. And why is that important to me? Well, it's important to me because Susan, my wife, and I work out of the home, and I want us both to have fantastic work environments, which we don't have today. We're good, but I'd like to have fantastic work environments. I would do your best work in a really great environment. The next part is I don't have a garage and I need some more storage. And the reason that that's important to me is that I like toys and I like to be physically active. So I want my stand-up paddle boards and my road bike and my gravel bike and my mountain bike. I want them all in the garage with me so I have easy access to them so I can go outside and be physical and active. That's my why. I want to be able to be more physical and active with my toys right there at my house in storage. Big challenge for me right now. And the other is I can breathe great near the ocean for my allergies. So I want to be near there. So this has to do with health. So yes, I want to be happy. I want to be in a beautiful house. I want big glass windows and a great view, but I want to be able to walk to the beach. I want to be able to smell the salt water. So that's my why of why I want that. And so I'm clear about what that's about. So it's not so much that I have to have the house. The most important part of this is why. One way to do the why exercise, I learned an exercise in a course I took from one of my coaches, I want to say about 2 months ago now, 2 months ago. And they called it 7 levels down. And it was the exercise of why. And so you would have this is like, this is something that you want. And the question was, okay, why? It's why, because why? Because why do I want this house near the beach? Because I like the ocean. Okay. Why do you like the ocean? I like the ocean because I feel good when I get there. I'm able to breathe when I get there. Well, why do you feel good? Why is that important to you? Well, I actually want to be able to be full of energy every day. I want to wake up in the morning, not with my eyes not crusted shut. I don't want to be all stuffy and taking allergy pills. I want to be healthy. When you do that and you ask yourself 7 times why that's important, it really takes you down through the levels of why. So for each of those circled items, you want to be able to write down why you want it, why you must have it, why it's important to you. Another way to think about it is what's in it for you. What are you going to get out of that? And it's okay to have some things on this list. It really is. But I think some of the greater results are going to be around the goal being around the why versus the actual object. Okay. So that'll get you started on why. And now the next question that you're going to answer for each one of the circled items is, who do you have to become to achieve this? Who do you have to become to achieve this? So, for example, perhaps One of your goals requires you to become a business person because you want to buy a professional sports franchise. Yes, you might need to become a billionaire, but you need to become a much better business person. That's going to tell you what you need to go do. So who do you have to become? In order to have, if you've got a family goal on here, I have to become, in order to be the type of child I want to be to my parents, I need to become a better son. Well, what do I need to do to become a better son? Maybe I need to call, maybe, just as an action, I need to call them more frequently. I need to go visit. I need to spend more time. I need to be a better son. I might need to be, for another goal, I might need to become a scientist. I might need to go study something in my religion. I might need to go learn new financial skills. There's so many things. Like, who do I have to become? Brother, son, investor, real estate agent, trader, athlete. Maybe you have to become an athlete. Maybe that is something you haven't done your whole life, but you need to become an athlete who participates in competitions and goes to the gym. Maybe that's what you need to do to achieve your goal. You want to do an Ironman triathlon, and you don't do anything today, but you always get inspired when you see them out there. In order to do that, you need to become an athlete. And then you need to actually start in on, what do I have to do? What do I have to know? How do I have to be to fulfill that particular goal? So that is the 5-step process. Let's go back and review on that. I have a slide on this. Let me pull up the slide. Share that tab with you here. And okay. So you write down the 5 things you have to accomplish and are proud of. One of the reasons that's important is it's important to get your mind in the idea of things of success versus, I can't do that. No, you can do that. You can do anything. One of the things that I absolutely believe, and I want you to adopt this belief as well, is that you and I, we are only limited by our imaginations. Nothing else. We are only limited by our imagination. We can imagine anything, and then we can create desire. And once we have that desire, we can start to act. And there is nothing that we cannot go get. So starting with things that you've accomplished is a really great place to start, because it puts your mind in the right place around this. I can accomplish things. I do accomplish big things. I did get that degree. I did survive that math class. So you write down the 5 things. What do you want out of the next 10 years? And I want you to think about this some more too. Think about it. Dream about it. Think about it a little bit at night before you go to sleep. When you get up in the morning, give yourself a chance. Take a few breaths before you go off and do anything. Pick up a piece of paper, pull up your phone, write down what you thought of. What would be great to achieve or dream and that you dreamt of that you would like to have or do or be over the next 10 years? Then you assign a timeline to it: 1, 3, 5, and 10. Choose the 4 most important items. Number 5, determine why you must have them. Each one. Why must you have that? And number 6, who do you have to become to achieve this? So all this is the process to get through the planning of getting to something to start to work with. What I have learned from doing this, in my experience, is that I often start to achieve quite a few of these things quite quickly every time I do a new set of goals, and which is awesome. I also noticed that some of them I don't achieve, and it's not because they were too big or too hard or too far away. I start to realize is they weren't all that important. Seemed like it was, but it wasn't. And then the other part that gets interesting is, am I spending my time with people and doing things that are helping me get to my goals? Always good to hang out with the gang, have fun with your friends. I get it. Absolutely. But also think about adding friends that are all about getting to some of the same goals as you so that you go in the same place and you're able to start to live that life the way you want to live it. Not taking the default outcomes of what you ran into, who you ran into. Serendipity is awesome. But when you know where you're headed, you start to run into people that can also take you where you want to go. So there's your process. 5 steps. Gave you some, some elements of the goals. You have the steps to get to your goals. And then go back and look at the 7 steps again. Do I have it written? Okay, it's written down. Yes. I know why I have to achieve this. But before you build your plan, you really have to go, what obstacles am I likely to run into? And then what people, groups, and organizations am I going to need to help me get through all that, to help me get to that goal? And people love to help you get your goals, but they have to know where you're headed. What do you need to know? What skills do you need to learn? What books do you need to read? What courses do you need to take? Being a lifelong learner, that was one of the big themes that came from the Money Masters. Got to keep learning. You got to keep learning new stuff. And then you start to break it out and go, what are the milestones to get to that? What are the steps I have to take? Even if it's over 10 years, but what steps do I have to take next year? Break 2023 into some quarters. And by what date will I complete this? So this won't be the end of what we share with you and the things that sessions that I set up around this. There's more, but this will get you there. And I recommend, as I stated in some of the sessions in the posts in the group, is write down what these goals are. Even if it's just the goal, put them in a notebook that you work with, that you use. I recommend creating a separate notebook, a goal notebook. Write down on the front page or a couple pages in, write down what your goals are and check in on your goals daily. And then go and flip back a couple more pages and build out this. What are the obstacles I know I'm going to face? What people do I need to enroll with me? What do I need to know? What are the steps? And start to build your plan. And if you keep visiting it, you will start, it'll start to consume you, and you will start to focus on the things that are most important to you. And this is where you want to go. And life gets fun because crazy shit starts to happen. And this is a true story. I decided a few years ago that I wanted to create and run music festivals. And so the super short version of this is that a friend of mine came to me. I did not tell him that I was looking to run music festivals. This was a friend that I knew, actually in this case through the music industry. And he said, I have an idea for you. I've actually talked to a company that I think we ought to buy, and they do music events. And one of the things they do is a festival. And I think this would be something that'd be really good for you, Doug. And this is something that we could work on together. And I think it could be really lucrative. And we looked at it. Now the deal didn't work out, so we didn't get that one done. And I didn't even think about it very much until about a year later. And I went back and revisited my notes, and I decided I still want to do this. I want to curate a festival. And so a new neighbor moved in across the street. True story. Less than a year ago, moves in across the street. And he's an entrepreneur. And he and I are talking the very first time we met. And I said, I'm an entrepreneur. I work from home, and I have some different businesses I'm involved in. I do some trading and real estate. And but a couple things, I'd really like to be involved in music, and I'd love to create a music festival. So this is something I'm really thinking about, and I'd love to tie that together into the world of blockchain and cryptocurrency. And he looks at me and he goes, we should definitely talk more. I own a music festival company. And there are people, hundreds of thousands of people go to the festivals of the company that he started over 10 years ago, right across the street from me. I was looking for it. I've been thinking about it. I'm planning for it. I'm talking to people about it, and it starts to come to life. I don't know where this is going to end, but I do know that it works. It hasn't just started. It's in the process. Really cool stuff starts to happen when you know where you want to go and you start working on it, you start thinking about it, and you start assuming that you are in the role of being the person that does the goals that you want to achieve. Okay, with that, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.